Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. I am Safiya.
And I'm Angela.
And this is
The Wellness Show.
So we hope you're all keeping healthy and feeling good. So today, Angela, we have decided to talk about something fairly topical.
Winter is coming.
Yes.
I'm sorry to give you guys the bad news if you didn't know. But you can just feel the nip in the air.
Yeah.
The shops are showing. They're getting ready for winter.
Yes, there are definitely some things have appeared at the beginning of October. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I'm
So
supposed to wait for another month. But anyway.
we decided to do this show on boosting our immunity system, waiting for to prevent as much as possible, that is, of getting ill, getting sick, getting the flu, getting the cold, and anything else.
I don't know what the situation has been in your house, but in my house, one after the other, have just the last few weeks have been coming down with very bad colds and a fever and
so then
things.
So the question begs to be asked: should we bother to even talk about it if everybody's going to get sick anyways?
Well, as you know, yeah, exactly. But no, to be honest, as we know, these bugs are necessary for your immune system, believe it or not. They are.
Yeah.
Because that's how your immunity builds up, by getting exposed to these mild. They're still mild generally for most of the population. They are mild. You get, you're down for a few days and then that's it. You recover, and it's necessary for your body to go through that. So it builds antibodies, and so we'll talk about all this in this show. But interestingly, I'm the only one who is very, very regular. Every day, every morning, I have my little selection of supplements.
Okay, vitamins.
C, multivitamins, vitamin D throughout the year. But we'll talk about that again.
Do you get less sick?
And I did not get anything. I was just a little bit down, I think, one day, a couple of days or something, but I had no cold or cough or anything. I was just a bit more tired compared to everybody else who they were really, really, really struggling for them, like streaming and a headache. And
well, so, even though it's good for us, we should still not say, "Oh well, who cares if I get sick?"
Because am I a case in point? We'll see all of the things that you guys can do to boost your immunity, and quite a lot of things I can take. So maybe, yes, I am the guinea pig for you. It actually works. Allahu alam, may Allah keep us all in good health and protect us, and when we're ill, give us shifa and make it good for us. Ameen. Because we can't boast about anything. We don't know what's around the corner. But for these things, I see a difference between me and my family, to be honest. So, what is the first thing, Angela, we can say that when it's not just not particularly about boosting the immune system as such, but how to kind of prevent catching what goes around as much as possible? How can we protect ourselves?
Well, at least I'd say 5 things we can do to prevent catching a cold. Okay.
The first
some of it also, well, we'll go when we get to it. We'll talk about it, but washing your hands, as simple as that.
General hygiene.
When you go to the hospitals and you see signs everywhere telling the staff to make sure they wash their hands, to me it's a bit shocking, because there's staff that work in the hospital. Shouldn't that be they're the first thing they do, the first habit?
I have a gruesome story to tell about hospital. We think they're like this clean place, everything. And my son, when he was young, one of my sons had a cut to his head. He fell against something like that. So we went to hospital to have it, at the time, to have it glued. Sounds very weird, but that's what they do. And this doctor, and I was embarrassed to say, I didn't say anything, but I should have. This doctor, my youngest, the 30-something male doctor, had long nails with black underneath.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
So yes, they do. Some of them do need reminding.
Yeah, but that should be part of their training.
No gloves even.
I find that weird. well, I'm not going to say, oh, the Canada is better than the UK, but a big difference
But you
between
like to say
the
that,
Canada
right?
versus the UK. Been to the doctors here, seeing nurses, actually even taking blood, the phlebotomy people, right? No gloves. I'm thinking, aren't you scared that I might have something? Like, you should be wearing gloves. You're taking my blood. So
And also, just
that's
to
not
put-
washing hands.
to put-
That's, of course, getting off topic.
You might be putting some.
But they're
some
not very
germs on
careful
the-
here.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, this is one of the things that you remember at the beginning of COVID pandemic, and all the recommendations from the government was wash your hands, stay away from people when you're ill, everything. And we were looking at our, it's like.
We all
surely
do
we
that.
should do that anyway.
I used to do that
And people doing
anyways.
this? Like, you're ill, you don't go in crowded places, cough on everyone, like cough in your elbow.
I think people have taken things for granted. Like, I understand that we have medicine for a lot of things now, but I think people are forgetting, like, why do you want to get sick or spread it? Like, if you're seriously
I think
ill.
before that, people didn't realize to what extent a cold or a cough or a flu could be dangerous, for instance, for the elderly and those who are vulnerable.
Well,
we used to think about serious things like, okay, if I have chicken pox, I need to stay away, especially from pregnant women, that sort of things. But for general, usual bugs, we think, oh, it's just a cold. But for an elderly person or a vulnerable person, that can be quite serious.
Yeah, and
So that was basically washing hands, and when you have a cough or a cold, just do that in your elbow. So not in your hands, but in the crease of your elbow, so it goes on your clothes. And then we know that germs don't last very long once they're out of the body, so it's fine. And what else, Angela?
well, yeah. So first hand is everybody wash your hands. Remind everyone to wash their hands. Kids, especially. You wash your hands for 20 seconds.
So exactly, remind us how to do that.
So you use warm water and soap. You scrub your hands for at least 20 seconds, and concentrate on also the tips of your fingers and your palms, right?
Underneath the nails.
And well, keep your
In between
nails
the
short
fingers.
if you can.
Yeah, the top of the hand as well. We forget that. Top of the hand, the palm. Obviously, that's kind of an obvious thing because we rub the hands together, but then go over the palms, in between the fingers, in between. Then rub, like lock your fingers on top of each other, the nails, everything.
Yeah. So I hope we do that. Other tips that go along with washing your hands is to, when you go shopping, to wipe the shopping trolleys, right?
I do that now regularly, and it's actually quite good.
I used to do it even before COVID, and I used to worry what people think, but I used to care so much about the bugs more than I care what people think. But I try to do it surreptitiously,
with your little spray.
But yeah.
But now we still have in most shops you can still find antibacterial gel.
Yeah.
Well,
yesterday when I went shopping, that one that I tried to use had nothing in it. So I'm hoping that this is just like a temporary lapse. Because if we're gonna go back to not caring about our washing our hands, it stopped for 2 years or more. The economy, you guys, everybody has to care. And remind me to talk about the plane, on the plane.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I remember wiping the arms and the tray when I got on the plane before COVID to go to Canada, and I offered my neighbor some wipes too, and he just looked at me and said, "What for?" I didn't want to give him a lecture. He's an old guy about, the planes are really dirty. People don't wipe them, and I don't think the airlines are spending that much money to keep their plane clean.
They are in that.
But now, hopefully. Anyways, the other thing we can do, sneeze in your elbow, you've mentioned it. Bin your tissues and wash your hands right after. Now, maybe people should know this, but you should stay home when you're unwell or you're sneezing because of a cold, not because you have, dust. Don't go to Juma when you're sick. That's an excuse. You have that excuse not to go. It's not like it can be kind of counted against you.
Exactly.
especially because a lot of old people go there and you don't want to make the meal, right? And
I
remember,
just as a parenthesis, that talk, about Juma and everything. I remember when the pandemic started, there was a virologist who said, if we apply every winter season, so now October, November, December, especially when it starts, if we apply the same rules we apply for COVID, maybe not as stringent, but say you have a cold and a cough or something, and you don't go into closed places with a lot of people. Juma being one of them, we would have a lot less incidence of cold and flu and death of the elderly in winter, generally speaking.
Exactly, and we do have to care about the elderly.
Yeah.
That's, I don't understand why people don't understand.
Yeah.
And this is like the first defense: wash your hands, and don't. If when you're ill, stay away from. It's even the sunnah of the Prophet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely.
Alhamdulillah. So that's it. If you're right, keeping what we learned during the COVID. Next thing to do, okay, is you get enough sleep. Wow. Did we talk about getting enough sleep? Also, so you don't gain weight. Sleep is turning out to be more important than we've given it credit in our society. Where everything is go, 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 go. So what does that do? So getting enough rest is critical for keeping your immune system strong and healthy, since your body regenerates while you sleep. And I would say aim, and actually I shouldn't be saying I said, this is from studies that have been done, to aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep at night, and to follow with a good sleep hygiene, which includes blue light emitting devices out of the bedroom, like keeping them out. I mean, putting away your devices somewhere other than don't go to sleep with them. I have to say I'm guilty of it.
Going to confess something there?
Yes, I have to say I feel like it helps me sleep, but it actually might be with stopping me from.
So what do you do? Confess it.
I either read on my phone.
Yeah.
Or my iPad, or I play Candy Crush.
Yeah,
but I have the noise off, so I don't think that excites. That does that excite me? Only the colors.
Yeah, but you have a filter. You can have a filter on your screen.
Could you? No, I don't know that. I need you.
Oh my goodness, I've got to show you that.
Okay.
So people, on your phone, when you scroll down, you swipe down, and you've got at the top your list of Bluetooth, location, Wi-Fi, etc. You also have Eye Comfort Shield.
What do you call that?
Eye Comfort Shield. So it's got different names,
I don't see it.
Okay, you might have to go into your settings.
Okay, I'll do it later.
For the screen, and you can just basically add it to your list of shortcuts. But basically, what it does, you can set it to anytime you want to start and to finish. You can also download the many apps. You just look for blue light app.
Wow.
And it's amazing. You have that on laptops, computer, PCs, tablets, any device has that now inbuilt, but you can also, as I said,
so you don't have to buy those glasses, those blue.
No, you don't have to. And what it does is that it just creates a filter, so it's a bit of an orangey filter. A bit of an orangey filter. Angela is handing me a spray for my hands because I touched the side of my mouth.
It's like, stop!
It's getting really bad.
You want to get sick?
So what happens is that it covers your filter, not all our secrets, and it removes the blue light. The blue lights are what keeps you awake. That's what, when you go out in the morning at Fajr time, you can see the light in the sky is very bright.
Mm-hmm.
And when you, in the evening, when the sun sets, it's more orangey. And these send signals to your brain to tell you it's time to wake up, or if it's orangey and there's less blue light, it's time to sleep. So if you then go to bed and it's say 10:30, 11 o'clock, let's be reasonable, your body should be thinking now it's really time to sleep and releasing the melatonin to send you to sleep for good repair. But if you have you then take your phone and it's full brightness, white screen with all that blue light, you're confusing your brain. You're telling, no, it's time to wake up. Then it takes an hour and a half to 2 hours after you've turned off for the melatonin to start kicking in. So even if you might end up falling asleep before that, you still do not go into your repair sleep because the melatonin has not been released properly for you to repair. So I have mine set to whatever, like I think 9 p.m., something like that. So by the time I'm in bed, I've not really looked at the screen. No, I mean, sometimes I do watch something on my TV. That is going to be a bit harder to have a filter on. But it's
they sell
something you need to be
glasses
aware.
now,
Yeah,
but they are pretty
aware.
expensive.
Yeah, I don't know. My daughter find some plasticky ones that were not too expensive at all. Probably less than £10. I don't think she would have spent more than that.
Okay, I'm
have a
haven't
look.
done my research, my most recent
have a
one.
look. It's quite useful. If you can't control your environment, then you can wear glasses. Seriously, it makes a difference. So yeah, really good sleep. Why? Because this is when we repair, and we had a whole show on sleep, didn't we, Angela?
We did. Please go look at it on our YouTube channel, Wellness with Angela and Safiya. Okay.
The one thing is like also, you know, if you can't control all of your devices and everything, just don't bring them into the bedroom. Have a book, just reading from proper pages, proper books that you hold in your hand. I'm known to do loads.
I
of
agree
really
with
good
you.
work.
I love that idea, but I face other issues regarding book reading at night and the flipping of the pages and the certain people getting annoyed that they hear
No, but it's just a few minutes. So for
Yeah.
instance, I always have a book ready, and I just read maybe 2-3 pages, or the Quran. You know, it's basically something. It just relaxes your mind, gets you ready for sleep, and also it's been known as an aside about the benefits of books is that if you read novels, it develops your compassionate nature.
Mashallah. Maybe we should do
novels.
a show about that.
I think so. So we had we're talking about how to boost your immune system with winter.
And so far we've covered
Face.
washing your hands and getting enough sleep and
Yeah, washing hands and general hygiene practices. Yeah.
exactly. And now we're going to talk about drinking enough water.
So that's quite interesting because this, if you think about immunity, I'm sure most people would not think about water being one of the things that can help you, but water is just so essential. And
Water
do we
is
drink
life.
enough water? No, we don't.
Yeah.
So we are thinking of having a whole show on water because it's useful and for general life to know, but also if you do sports or anything, or you go hiking, whatever, like how there's some really interesting studies that I've come across that will be interesting to report back to you. But in terms of just boosting the immunity, Angela, tell us.
Well, if you drink water, it flushes out bacteria and infection-causing toxins away from your body. You should have, they say, at least 8 to 10 glasses of water daily. But of course, I still think a lot of the water should come from your food, and because not everybody can have 8 to 10. Especially in winter.
So at the top of your head, what foods have water? Cucumber, I can think of. Lettuce. I've got a lot of.
Yeah, all the
water.
green leaves, all the green leaf vegetables. I mean, the salads, I would
Cucumber
say.
is a good source.
Yeah, it's
definitely.
very good. Like, you can't go wrong with cucumbers and zucchini. But as for water, have salads.
Yeah.
with your before your meals or after your not after your meals actually, because it dilutes your digestion. So before have
Oh really? Because that's interesting. Because in France,
Yeah.
traditionally, we always have a green salad after the meal.
Okay, that is
no,
fine because
yeah.
it has fiber in it, but the water directly, like drinking.
Right,
like,
for water.
Yeah.
Sorry.
don't have all this water when you're after you
I
started
think,
eating.
isn't there a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ? Actually, I seem to recall my brother-in-law was also into health. We've interviewed him, saying you drink before with a bit of salt.
I'll add to that a bit of baking soda, like a sprinkle of baking soda with a sprinkle of salt. It's good for you. It does the body good. Now I'm not gonna listen to our disclaimer.
Yes.
Do your research.
But you can't really go wrong with baking soda.
No, just a pinch. Now we're not talking about a teaspoon. We're
Such a
talking
good
about a
thing.
sprinkle of it. Yeah.
So, what was I going to say? Yes, it's just drinking water. Some people say it's good to drink water that has added minerals, not added as in added after, but like they rich in minerals like magnesium, and we talked about magnesium in the past as well. If you want to refer back to that show to understand more what magnesium does and why it's important. But there's so many things that are important. Now, if you don't like the taste of your water, you can use one of those filtering jugs with charcoal inside. So basically it just filters the chlorine, filters all the the added chemicals they have to add to keep it clean. Personally, I find that it really does wonders. Manchester's water actually is quite good. If I compare it with London's water, I quite like it, but it does taste quite a bit of chlorine. So if you want to remove that, just filtering it in a jug with one of those filters does the trick. Try to not have bottled water, because really it's not good for the environment to have so much, but we do like our sparkling water, so occasionally we do have sparkling water in bottles.
Well, apparently you could get a device
Yes.
that makes
Yes.
your water sparkly.
Again, do your research and who manufactures them, because there are different manufacturers. Some of them you might prefer than others. That's all we're going to say about it. And but when you do research it, you'll understand why. You said that. But basically, the way water works to boost your immunity is that as you say, it dilutes and flushes away the toxins and the bacteria that you have in your mouth. Even rinsing your mouth is really good. Gets rid. Why do we do wudu 5 times a day? At the very least, 5 times a day. Why do we have to rinse our mouth?
We have
Because
to
it gets rid.
connect everything. Connect the
Why did the
dots.
Prophet ﷺ say, make wudu when you wake up? Because you rinse your mouth, you get rid of the bacteria. Obviously, then there's a miswak, and now we use toothbrush and toothpaste. Again, toothpaste. Now we're digressing, so much to talk about.
I know, there's
how
always-
to improve your health, but there's toothpaste now with added pre and probiotics, so it helps the good bacteria in your mouth. Clean your tongue. I mean, it's just simple things like this. This will help get rid of the bad bacteria, because your mouth, your nose, they're all the filters.
That just
before
tells me,
things come into
Safiya,
the
we need to
food.
have a whole episode on oral hygiene.
Yes, yeah, probably, yeah. And bicarbonate of soda will feature.
Yeah.
Bicarbonate of soda can feature in
And
the
xylitol,
shows,
believe it or not.
Yeah, xylitol as well.
Anyways.
So these are all ways, basically, what they do is that they balance out the pH of your mouth, and so they don't allow bad bacteria to grow, but they help good bacteria and to develop and to protect. Remember, there's an issue when you use too much of these products that have 99% bacteria, kill 99% of the bacteria in your cleaning products and stuff. The problem is that it kills all bacteria, and so if you have no good bacteria available, then the bad bacteria will develop a lot more on your kitchen surfaces. So ideally, don't use this very, very strong product. Use more milder or environmental friendly ones, or homemade ones with bicarbonate of soda, a drop of essential oil. Again, that's another thing, another topic we want to talk about soon. So yeah, there's loads and loads that you can do to develop the good bacteria and protect your body. So again, cleaning your surfaces, that's one of the ways as well to protect your body from, if someone's ill in your house, you know, tell them to wash their hands regularly, as we said earlier.
Well, when
Also to rinse their mouth,
COVID
brush
was
their
at its
teeth, to-
as its highest, we had to set up a station at the. So anything that any product came from Amazon or groceries,
You used to clean them.
yeah, wipe them down,
Yeah,
spray them, wipe them down.
Yeah, me too. You can ask my daughter. She still has like. But what did we use, Angela? We did not use 99% bacteria killing things. We
No.
used the Turkish colonia.
Colonia, and we bought also. You can buy it in a big container.
Yeah.
It's better for you. Okay, yes, the some people say, oh well, it dries you out because it's made from alcohol, but it doesn't have what those gels have in them.
Yeah.
I forget the exact name. There's something that's very harmful in them, and they do more harm. They're harmful too.
Yeah.
They don't just kill the bacteria; they kill good bacteria.
Yeah.
Whereas this colonia, Turkish
Anything
colonia,
that says kills 99.9% of bacteria is best to stay away. This is our recommendation. Then again, do your own research. But this is what we wanted to say about water. As I said, we most likely are going to have a show specifically on water because it is really essential. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously essential for life. We all know that, but to what extent and why? It's very interesting.
So the other thing that helps you prevent getting ill is to eat a balanced vitamin-filled diet, foods that are high in vitamin C with antioxidants, and they are immune-boosting properties. So they're able to fight disease, causing free radicals and inflammation inside your body. We need to avoid deep-fried or processed foods high in sugar and fat. So high in sugar and fat together, we're talking about. Let's pick some ideas of what that represents. Donuts, anything fried, right? That's sweet. So first, from the savory fried foods, the seed oils are most likely used. That's really bad for your cells. So that's not good for your immunity because you need healthy cells to fight. And then when it comes to sweets, if they're fried and they're full of sugar and fat, right? And when we say the sugar, we mean anything that's bready, like the wheat, the refined wheat flour with sugar and then fried. That's like a ticking time bomb in your health if that's what you eat a lot. And they're very addictive. So once you have them, they're not easy to like they just take over you. They it's like somebody, you know, like making obsessed until you eat it, right? Because you become addicted to it. So those things are not good for your immune system. Now, if that's what you're eating, then I would say instead of just obsessing about removing them 100%, how about you add better things like on top of that, or before you have that donut, or you have that samosa or something like that, have something else like a nice cucumbers, a plate of some like citrus fruits, some apples, some oranges, and then if you still after that want to have your donut, you can have it. But what I'm saying is, because it doesn't work sometimes to just constantly think about removing, think adding good things into your diet, and eventually you're gonna get used to the better. You're gonna change your mind. It takes time to your taste buds to adjust to things that are different. Yeah. But like apparently blueberries and pomegranates are really good. Yes. Lots of antioxidants. The darker their color, the better. So that's what you could have. Fermented foods is really good for your gut. Like let's see now, fermented cabbage. It's a German. Remind me again what it's called, Safiya.
Sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut. It's very good for your gut. You can have it on the side of your on your plate with your meats and your salad. You can mix it in with your salad. You can have something called kimchi. It's a Korean type of fermented food.
Lovely. It's against fermented cabbage as well, in bigger chunks and with chili.
All right, and they have other vegetables in it, and it's
That's right. Yeah.
But there's also like the Asian culinary cuisine, the Indian cuisine, they also have a type of fermented I forget what it's called now.
Well, fermentation is the primary way that we have found over the centuries and millennia to keep food for longer.
Yes.
So what it does, the process is to develop that bacteria that protects the food from going off.
It's also good for you.
That's also good bacteria for your own.
And there's a few other foods. Kefir is fermented. Yeah, it's not alcoholic, guys. Okay, as for those who are worried about that, kefir is good for your gut. It has prebiotics, probiotics. Sourdough bread. Real sourdough bread that I don't know where you can find it in Manchester. Anyone who knows where to find really good sourdough bread, drop us a message on our videos on YouTube, please, because I'm looking for that. Other than making it myself, so we mentioned the fermented vegetables like kimchi and sauerkraut. We've mentioned what else? The kefir. There's other drinks like fermented tea called kombucha. I don't know anything about it, but I know it's fermented tea. So it's available in the UK. I just don't know how good they are if they are from shops because they're pasteurized.
Yeah, exactly.
And all the goodness is removed. Pickles should be good for you, but again, if it's at a shop, in jars, they've been pasteurized. So for bad bacteria, and it kills all the good too. So if you can find someone who makes them,
it's very easy to make pickled or fermented cabbage. It's seriously so easy.
And pickles, I'm sure there's a way to make pickles.
Recipes. I've made it several times. It's really dead easy. All you do is you chop cabbage, put it in a jar, mason jar, cover it with water, add salt, and just let it ferment. I think, as far as I remember, that's all it was.
It's amazing.
Maybe one extra little ingredient, can't remember, but really it's very simple. So it's not like it's out of reach for an average person. Cabbages, you can find them anywhere. It's really nice, very, very tasty.
Yeah.
Tasty. You can add berries to it, little berries to give it some flavor, like juniper berries and things like that.
A few other foods that help with your gut is echinacea. It's like a type of herb that you can make into
you can find it in
tea.
teas as well.
Okay, garlic and green tea. They can help prevent a simple cold.
Okay, garlic. My eldest son, 21. He's got he's at an age now. He likes to experiment. He does his own research and he just goes off. And so he's discovered that garlic is really good for your health when you're unwell, or even for general health. Okay. But it's not just garlic, okay? He says you have to have raw garlic cloves and chew it.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the juice and the saliva, everything, and how it breaks down. That the process of chewing is essential for it to be fully efficient. And I'm like, right, yeah, great. But, oh, my goodness, your breath.
You know, the Prophet ﷺ did not eat garlic for a reason.
He disliked
because the angels didn't like the
it's
smell.
very strong. But to be honest, there's other ways to have garlic without having to go through this. For instance, again, I always go back to Greek and Canada.
Yeah.
Greek for food often, I've noticed.
Yeah, they have.
And me to France. But it's these countries have got some good things for themselves. And it's this in the salad. So I was talking about we have a tradition after every meal we have a full bowl of leafy salad. Generally it's only just lettuce. It's not mixed salad, it's just lettuce with shallot chopped. Or you can have red onions are really, really good.
I'll come to love red onions. A lot of quercetin,
which is very healthy. But anyway, so chop a little bit of even white onion, shallot or whatever, and garlic. 1 or 2 cloves of garlic, and you chop them very fine, very, very small. You just even also squash them a bit. I think this is the same process as when you chew it. It's recommended, that's from a chef saying, you squash the garlic, so you let all the juice out, you let it air a bit, so all the goodness of the garlic is exposed, and then you put it in your dressing. It's so delicious, and it does not give you that such strong breath because it's mixed with other food.
Well, I make
And the
mine
dressing.
garlic. I have it with tzatziki. I make my very own homemade almost
Yeah.
every week now.
Yeah.
And hummus.
Exactly. You can have
And
it
it's
in
mixed
hummus.
with everything else.
You can have it
you know,
babanoush in
exactly.
the aubergine.
So you can
paste.
have it in those sauces.
You don't have to have it.
And then you can use those sauces on the side of your dish.
Yeah.
You know, even the Asians must have something on the side.
Because obviously we know the process of cooking does kill us to a certain extent some of the ingredients, especially when it's overcooked. So if you can have some of these things raw.
Yeah, and
that's good.
I don't use cooked garlic. I mean, it's fresh garlic chopped,
Yeah, of course.
put into
We're not talking about
a
the
big
frozen
1
loaves.
kilo of
Yeah.
yogurt,
Yeah.
2 cloves, so or 3,
Yeah.
let's say, if you really love garlic, but olive oil and salt and pepper and all those things together, and the dill and parsley, they kind of help you have it without any.
There's a trick actually if you've got garlic breath or any breath, but generally garlic, is to chew a bit of fresh parsley
Okay.
or a couple of whole grains of coffee grains.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer to chew on parsley than the coffee grains. I love drinking my coffee, but chewing on the grain, maybe not.
Yeah.
But
I don't
just so
know.
that you know, if you find yourself in a situation where, oops, you had a bit too much garlic, just chew a bit of on parsley, and it
Worst case scenario, open the jar of coffee and shovel in some.
yeah, that would be a bit odd.
Then you can rinse your mouth. Anyway, so you could also have how to say it? You know, when you, bones, make bone broth. Bone broth
absolutely
is
amazing.
very good for preventing colds, or if you have a cold. So in order to connect some of these items we were just talking about, you can make a soup with chicken bones or the lamb bones or beef bones, any bones. So you will get the gelatin out. This is why it's good. It's the gelatin. You make it with garlic and lemon, another very good like fighting fruit.
Yeah.
And you make a soup with broth. You make the broth and you cool it and you have it, you know, as hot as you can have it, like
The
sip
trick
it in a
about
mug.
bone broth is that to really benefit from the full ingredients is to have it simmer at least for 6 hours if you can, or use a slow cooker. So you can do a perpetual broth, and you can use the same bones for about a week. It's amazing because what happens after 2-3 days in the slow cooker, so each time you take some broth and you use it, and then you replace with fresh water, and you can add, stock your some herbs or ingredients to give it some more flavor each time, and then you at the end about 3-4 days, the bone starts to become very brittle. You can crush them. It makes it very strong, though, the flavor. But then you have all the bone marrow.
Okay,
all the
I would only
collagen,
do that if the
everything's
meat,
delicious.
the chicken is organic.
Yes, I do. And in fact, I actually
Or
buy...
grass fed.
Yeah, I buy... It's very cheap. There's a family... there's a family butcher here in... I think they're based in Oldham. And they do amazing quality organic meat. But you can buy the carcass, the chicken carcass, and it works out at about you can buy 5 for £5 or something, maybe a bit more.
Well,
now,
you need
but
to send me that info.
Yeah, yeah.
It's local to Manchester.
Yes, they deliver all over the country now, and they're called edenfood.co.uk. I'm going to
And they're in
mention them because
Manchester.
they really deserve a shout out. Yes, they started very small and now they expanded
Mashallah,
nationwide.
that's good.
So yes, the meat is very expensive, but if you just buy the carcass of the
To
chicken,
make soups and stuff.
it's £5, £6 maybe per delivery.
And
for
literally,
5 carcasses. So let me
yeah, it's
explain,
gold.
The carcass has got still a lot of meat stuck to it.
It's gold. When you boil it and you make it soup, that is a super food
Yeah.
for your immune system
Yeah.
and your skin too.
So
wow.
we had a carcass the other day because, as I said, my family was ill. So straight away, I can hear someone's ill. you can be sure the bone broth is on the stove. And then what I do if I'm in a hurry, then I start it for an hour or so on the stove, so that we can start using it already. We know it's not the full extent, but it starts with being warming and wholesome, and then I transfer it to the
Slow cooker,
and then we have that for a week. But for about 3 days we had proper big pieces of meat in our bone broth, as well as the whole. So it is really, really good value for money, that one. You add a cinnamon stick, you add cloves, garlic, obviously, lots of onions. Onions is amazing.
Do you put do you put bay leaves? Bay leaves. I use bay leaves in my soups.
Yeah, definitely. And any other spices you enjoy. Turmeric is very good.
But it's not even just enjoying. If there's value, like nutritional value, they do something, and turmeric is very good for you.
Yeah, basil leaves, especially dried, has a lot of potassium in it. So there's, you just do your own concoction that you like, but definitely cinnamon.
I've never had cinnamon, so I'm gonna try it next.
So cinnamon is something I do separately, actually, which is I call it a thyme tea, but it's got much more than thyme. It's got thyme. You can add any other herbs you want: thyme, sage, rosemary, all of these antiviral herbs. A stick of cinnamon. If I don't, I use powder. However, note, it is not cassia. It is not the standard cinnamon you find in shops. It's a special one that you have, because you can't have too much of that hard bark you find in Asian shops. You shouldn't have too much of that. It's actually toxic at high levels. But you have to look for the true cinnamon from it's
Ceylon.
Ceylon cinnamon. Now this is Sri Lanka.
Ceylon is Sri Lanka.
So you add that, and you find that online very easily. And then what do I do? Cloves, ginger roots, pieces of ginger roots chopped in. And when it's finished, you add squeezed lemon juice and honey, good quality honey. Hopefully you have got your local honey, because local honey boosts your immunity for the local viruses, because it's been around local viruses, local flowers that help with the local.
Well, it's an antidote,
strains.
I think, to the allergens.
Yeah. So, but cinnamon
local.
and combined with honey, one boosts the other in terms of potency. So it's
Wow, it's like how turmeric and black pepper work together.
Yes, black pepper is really black pepper. As an aside, black pepper helps it's good to have on everything, all of your foods, because it helps boost the absorption of the nutrients. In fact, in France, they even have strawberries with black pepper.
Wow.
I don't like.
No, if something,
I don't remember.
I think if now that we talk about nutrition and health, when you hear stuff like that, you have to give it a try.
Yeah, and there's a reason for it. And when I heard that black pepper actually helped with absorption of nutrition, it's like, okay, well, I guess it helps with absorbing the good stuff from strawberries.
One little thing before we go on our break, I wanted to say you could have, when you're feeling the onset of cold, take some chili in the form of Tabasco, 10 drops of Tabasco sauce. It's easy, guys.
Yeah.
In a glass of water, very efficient, and you start sneezing a lot.
Yeah, because this is what I do when I feel like, it starts getting a bit bunged up and you can't breathe, and you feel like it's in your head and stuff. So a big glass of water, 10 drops, and you just gulp it down like virtually in one go.
And Tabasco sauce that we know,
strong, but
it started from a family who started doing specific certain types of peppers to make the Tabasco sauce. So it's like a family-owned business making this one product, and it's worth having and supporting.
Yeah, it's very efficient when you start that. So there's loads of things. I mean, obviously honey, we know. Oh, black seed oil, obviously. But that's maybe, we'll talk a bit more later on in the second hour when we talk about supplements and other things.
Yeah.
But Angela, just to finish off on the food, just give us a kind of an expanded list of food that are good for your immunity.
So we have anything citrusy, like oranges, lemons, blueberries, dark chocolate, turmeric, oily fish, in the cans.
So like sardines.
Yeah,
and,
they're very good for your immunity. Broccoli, sweet potatoes, spinach, ginger, garlic. We talked about them. Kefir, green tea, sunflower seeds. Apparently, oranges. We've already said. Sorry, I'm reading my list. Kiwis are
It's a good
there.
reminder anyway.
Yeah. Almonds and red bell peppers. They're very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And red pepper.
Now, if we missed anything else, like we said, bone broth, you know,
Yeah.
the gelatin in the bone broth is what is really, really good. Anything you put in it is good. Ginger, did I say ginger? Yes, ginger and garlic.
And then in my bone broth, I add some standard vegetables, especially winter vegetables like leeks. That's always gives a nice flavor and a nice texture to any soup. And then if you want to do like, I don't know, something a bit thicker, you can add then some sweet potatoes, and then you liquidize everything. It's so heartwarming. Seriously, when you're not well, and that little tea I was mentioning, the herbal tea.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nice. So, one other interesting aspect that we should look at is how to boost immunity, generally speaking, is taking supplements.
Yeah,
It's a bit controversial because you find all sorts of things about supplements. You find some, official websites or other or non-official saying there's no evidence that supplements help with this and that. But then you look at many studies proving that yes, if you increase your intake of this or of that, this happened and that happened, because obviously these ingredients come from what you would get from food. And as we discussed in the recent past when we covered minerals and vitamins in details, we reminded you all that the content of minerals and vitamins in our foods nowadays is a lot lower than what it used to be, because of intensive farming and pesticides, and the fact that they come from far as well. So,
but I have to say something to do when it comes to talking about studies. We have to use our brain, even though we're not scientists. But when you look at studies, and it's important to you to see what they're saying, you have to go back to the study and see what did they use as the product. Say, for example, when they're trying to prove that milk isn't good for you or it's good for you, what kind of milk did they use in the study? Did they use a regular supermarket milk that's pasteurized, homogenized
with cows that are not fed the natural
diet, or they're using raw milk that's in its purest form, that the cows have been taken care of, they eat amazing food. So those are two different animals. And when I say that milk and that milk, when they talk about fats are bad for you, what kind of fats did they use in the study? Did they use hydrogenated margarine or butter? Did they use seed oils or olive oil? So we have to when we're told about studies, we also have to go back to if we're serious. I mean, a lot of us won't do that, but everything you hear with a pinch of salt.
Yes.
And if you want to know more, then you go back to the study and read the details of it.
Yes, definitely. So what sort of so personally, as I said earlier, I do take supplements on a very regular basis. I eat every single morning, like religiously. I've got my breakfast. I'm taking my vitamins.
My husband does the same thing. I'm like the opposite of like your family. I take them on and off more than my family. So but he takes them.
For me, the key
day.
thing is that regularity is what makes the difference. So for instance, it is known that once you have a cold, taking a lot of vitamin C is not going to necessarily make a huge amount of difference, but vitamin C is very efficient at preventing you catching the cold in the first place, or you catch something but it's not as strong as it would have been. So this is this more in a preventative measure, but when I get ill, I do up my intake, and I do believe, and I have seen it over the last 10 years, that I do recover quicker. All sorts of reasons. I have more energy, generally speaking, than if I don't. So for me, it's a no-brainer. But again, as I always say, I have researched which company I'm going to buy them from. I don't buy them off the shelf in a supermarket. I don't even buy them off the shelf in a health shop in the high street. I buy them online from a reputable company that is an expert in producing these vitamins, and have got a lot of go through stringent tests to prove they're not just that they are made properly, but also that they're absorbed properly, and that every single tablet contains what it says on the box, because vitamins and supplements in general are considered foodstuffs, so they're not regulated by the same stringent regulations that pharmaceuticals are. So this particular company has actually voluntarily adhered to the good manufacturing processes for pharmaceuticals. So they themselves have said, we will behave as if we were producing pharmaceutical products, so medicinal drugs. And so they're a lot more transparent. And so this is the thing, you have to do your own research. So, but generally speaking, Angela, what are the basic sort of ingredients, shall we say, that are beneficial for general immunity? So we have
vitamin C and vitamin D. By the way, vitamin D, we call it a vitamin, but it's not really. It's the master hormone.
Go back to vitamin.
Very important. It's a master hormone, and you take it with vitamin K. It's included on a lot of vitamins. They're together. So take it with vitamin K. Then there's B12. Vitamin D, which we need more in the winter, can get decreased because we don't get exposed to sunlight.
Yeah, so we think sometimes, oh, that's it, there are more viruses because it's the winter. No, it's not that. It's the same level of viruses. However, it's because there's less sunlight, we get less vitamin D, therefore we are more prone to becoming ill.
And when I was a kid, one of the things that's like a common thing among a lot of cultures, but as a kid, I was told, oh, don't go in the cold, you're gonna get sick. It's not the cold, we're not talking about extreme Canadian cold where your fingers can be snapped off. No, we're talking about regular cold. The weather gets colder, that doesn't make you sick. What makes you sick is your immune system is already low. The cold lowers it because you haven't boosted it with sleep, food, washing your hands, and all these things, and therefore you're more prone to getting ill. It's not inevitable. It's not inevitable that you're going to get sick. Mm-hmm. You could be it's been proven that we're surrounded by bacteria, but we don't always get sick. We get sick when our immunity is down, and the bacteria that's already there is able to have a successful attack on yourself, and you get ill.
Exactly.
So if you guys want to argue about that, just in the comments, okay? Mm-hmm. You don't get sick from being in the cold. You get sick because your immune system lowers.
Definitely.
You know what? That's reminding me, and I keep forgetting. My mind is reminding me to keep saying it. One thing that's very good that increases your white blood cells, a food that does that, is coconut. Coconut fat, coconut water, coconut in any of its forms. Mm-hmm. You want to take a bath if you could in a coconut. Okay. No, but seriously speaking, coconut is proven, do your research, your white blood cells, and those are the little guys in your blood that are little soldiers that fight the bacteria and the viruses and all of that. So it's something that is very, very good, antifungal, antibacterial, so much good about that product called coconut. So when you hear me saying about magnesium, be your friend, also coconut in all its form become your friend.
It's great to cook with.
Yeah, to
As
cook
we've
with.
said that many, many times. You can find.
It could replace the coconut cream. Could replace dairy cream if you're trying to reduce dairy. So that you could use coconut cream. You could put it in your curries. You could drink the water. The only reason I don't buy it is because it has added sugar. If it was pure from the coconut, you can drink it. That coconut water is so good for you in boosting your immunity. I don't want to exaggerate its benefits, but please go and look at the amazing benefits of coconut water, coconut fat, and in all its forms. Okay?
Great. So now we're going to have a little break, and in the second half, so last part of the show, we're going to talk about the final way you can boost your immunity. And I'm going to leave it like this.
Don't tell them.
Suspense. Dun, dun, dun.
So you can please come back to the radio show.
Give a little of yourself. Cure your greed. Purify your wealth. Look around at where you live. Look at all the good you have to give. Give a little of yourself. There's a hand somewhere to hold, a mouth to feed. There's so much that we can do for so many who are in need. Give our time, give our wealth, give our love, give ourselves. Know Allah sees each and every hidden deed. Give a little of yourself. Cure your greed. Purify your wealth. Look around at where you live. Look at all the good you have to give. Give a little of yourself. Take a look at all the people everywhere who give with open hands and hearts that do what's fair. Can you see the blessings fall on believers one and all who take the time to give and know it's right to care? Give a little of yourself. Cure your greed, purify your wealth. Look around at where you live. Look at all the good you have to give. Give a little of yourself. Give a little of yourself. Cure your greed, purify your wealth. Look around at where you live. Look at all the good you have to give. Give a little of yourself.
Assalamu alaikum, we're back. Still talking about how to boost your immunity in this looming winter months. So we talked about food, we talked about water, sleep, but one of the ways to boost your immunity is dun 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 to do some exercise.
Yay!
Obviously, I was going to get excited about that one.
Of course.
Because exercise helps decrease your chances of developing heart disease, but it also helps you to keep your bones healthy and strong. That's like the standard reason why exercise is healthy for you. But I've not looking into it into more details. There's I've not really found. It doesn't seem to be a reason exactly yet, or an explanation yet, I should say, how exercise increases your immunity to certain illnesses. And there are several theories, it seems, but some of the theories are that physical activity may help flush bacteria out of the lungs and airways because you're breathing more heavily, and this may obviously reduce your risk of getting a cold, flu or other. But also, it seems that exercise causes a change in antibodies and white blood cells. So we've mentioned antibodies and white blood cells quite a bit already. Antibodies an antibody is a protein that is produced by the body's immune system when it detects harmful substances called antigens. And examples of antigens are microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, parasites, viruses, and chemicals. And white blood cells basically are the body's immune system cells that fight disease. So these antibodies or white blood cells circulate more rapidly, so they could detect illnesses earlier than they might have before, because your blood flow is, because of your increased heart rate, your muscles work harder, they need more of that fresh blood. So the circulation basically does happen better, and it seems to be potentially the reason why exercise helps. Also, the brief rise in body temperature during and right after exercise may prevent bacteria from growing. This temperature rise may help the body fight infection better. And this is basically similar to what happens when you have a fever. So that's another theory. And the last theory is that exercise slows down the release of stress hormones. So some so if you have stress, that increases the chance of illness. So if you lower your stress hormones, that may protect against illness. So you don't have to go crazy on your exercise, by the way. But
Yeah, because too intense exercise could also be harmful.
yeah, exactly. It's counterproductive. You actually stress yourself. You stress your body too much, and therefore you weaken it. So, for instance, if you already do exercise, you don't have to increase. The
Walking, a
amount of
brisk,
exercise.
good walk, fresh
Yeah.
air.
Exactly. So, but if you don't walk, if you don't exercise at all, then it's a good thing to do, to try and, I mean, we've been talking about this endlessly, about simple things like, as you said, walking 30 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, cycling, swimming a few times a week, doing something with your children. It doesn't have to be on your own or with a friend. So again, refer back to our previous shows about cycling, about walking, paddling. All those things as well are outdoors. They'll expose you to fresher air, being out in the woods, connection with nature. You are stimulating your immune system. You can go to the gym, obviously. You can do Pilates, yoga. It doesn't have to be super intensive. So that's one of the things that will really always encourage you, is to just be more active. Don't spend your time always cooped in your house. Your house, remember, inside the house is not as healthy and clean
Well,
as
actually,
outside.
there's a lot of studies done that indoor pollution can be higher sometimes than outdoor, because indoors we use a lot of products, cleaning products, those plug-in sprays, terrible for your lungs. You only realize it when you have respiratory problems, but they're terrible for you. The carpets full of dust, we can never, no one can
And our
100%
carpets
remove
are a lot of
the
time
dust.
artificial.
Yeah, they're
fibers.
artificial. So there's a lot of indoor pollution, so we shouldn't add to it, right? And
Do you
going out is
air-
good for it.
Yeah, do you air your house even if in winter you're thinking, I don't want to waste my heating, especially now with what's
Well, I
happening
have a
with the price.
constant battle about old-fashioned idea of keeping the windows closed and opening the windows for fresh air, which is good for you, versus keeping the windows closed because we need to keep the house heated. If anyone has any ideas of how
Well,
to
what I do is,
fight it.
first of all, we try to not have the heating on all day long. But sometimes when it's really the dead of winter and people work from home and study and stuff, it's a bit hard. But there's a moment, like when it's late, like mid-morning, when people are moving around, active, they're out, maybe in and out of the house, that's when I air. So we've kept the warmth from the heating early in the morning for Fajr and everything, and then for breakfast, and then I air the house. And you open 2 windows at 2 ends of the house. It doesn't have to be for hours, half an hour, and you get that air circulating. It does freshen up the air. Yes, it does reduce the temperature to a certain extent, but it's so essential. You air that house and then you close everything, and that's it. You're done for the day. It doesn't have to be. What really reduces and impacts your heating and your expenses is if you have a window on constantly. Therefore, your house is never really heating up properly. It has to work harder to get to the temperature you want it to be. So, but airing like in one go for half an hour, that's enough. Close everything, and then your heat will build up quite quickly again after that. So this is a roundup of all of the things that we can think of can boost your immunity. And again, refer back to our shows. We have done now several shows on vitamins. We looked at vitamin C, vitamin D in details, vitamin B12. We looked at minerals in general, and also some in details like magnesium, calcium, and others. You can also go back to our shows again, as I said, about walking, cycling, paddling, outdoors, what it does to you, your mood, how it boosts your your mood, therefore you feel better. Therefore, if you feel good, your body will feel good and stronger, and you're more likely to do positive action that is beneficial to your body and generally for your immunity in particular. Right.
Well, a little tidbit before you get into what sabotages your
Yes.
health is we were talking before about coconut water.
Yeah, go ahead. You found
And
something.
coconut. I found something that I already knew, but I'm glad to be reading it from a study on PubMed. I'm just going to read a little bit of it. Compared to oral rehydration fluids known to be effective in cholera, I know cholera is so far away from us, but
it's useful to know.
it's good to know for the sake of the really good benefits of coconut, right? So compared to oral rehydration fluids known to be effective in cholera, coconut water was found to have adequate potassium and glucose content, which means that in emergencies, it has been used instead of the rehydration fluids because of its content, and it's so good for you. So if you can get access to coconut water without the added sugar, you have no other concerns, this is very good for you. It's good for your health, especially if you're ill, right? So bone broth and coconut water,
There you go.
guys.
So now, Angela, what sabotages your immunity briefly? Some of it will basically be what we mentioned.
We
as things that
recycled it, nothing
boost-
new. You won't be surprised to hear too much sugar. Why? Because like coconut water builds your white blood cells, sugar kills your white blood cells. So you're more likely to get ill after you've had an infusion of sugar, because right there and then, it's not the cold air that will make you sick, it's having sugar.
Yeah.
Because it reduces your immunity, okay? Another thing that we've talked about, not sleeping enough. Constantly, like this is a constant problem, that you don't get enough sleep. You eat too much junk, which is full of fat and sugar together. And those things, you're under a lot of stress. It's a third thing. Now, a lot of people won't be admitting to number 4, but smoking. Smoking also reduces your immunity. So you're more likely to get respiratory disorders. And it's even worse when you're smoking because your lungs are already coated with the gunky stuff and tar. And it's even harder to fight a cold because the cells can't breathe properly.
Exactly.
So your cold would be worse.
So an interesting one as well to add is when you're not socializing enough, and that's something that potentially we have seen during the pandemic, but surprisingly or unsurprisingly actually, if you are lonely for extended periods, you might end up having a higher risk of disease and changes to your immune system over time. And also we know like hugs are extremely beneficial, the physical contact. So again, it's not just what you eat or what you consume or don't consume. It's also your emotional well-being is really, really important. So that would tie in with walking, being outdoors. So again, if you're worried because winter's coming and you don't want to be in a closed environment, just hook up with someone. There's loads of walking groups now, and they do very gentle walks in local parks. Do join them. It's you're going to have like fun and socialization as well as something that's good for your health. And finally, I think something that we might be forgetting is overuse of antibiotics.
That is definitely a problem in our society, right? Antibiotics are like for bacteria. They are, they kill bacteria, but they kill bad bacteria, but they kill the good bacteria.
They also affect your gut.
Yeah, your gut, the flora of your gut. And the overuse and misuse of antibiotics are key factors and contributing to antibiotic resistance.
Mm-hmm. So what's happened is that when antibiotics destroy your good bacteria, they can leave your immunity compromised. And there's research that's shown that individuals who take antibiotics for chronic infections are at greater risk for a weakened immune system. And also, just remember, don't go to your doctor and say, I've got such a bad cold, or I've got like this fever and everything. and say, yes, it's a seasonal flu. Can I have antibiotics? No, you can't, and you get annoyed because you don't feel like you're being treated. You don't need bacteria because it will do nothing. Because it's a virus.
Yeah, it's a virus, and antibiotics don't work for, like the name says, antibiotics. It doesn't work for viruses. It's not virologic. It's antibiotic, so it means it's against bacteria and bacterial infection.
It can be efficient if, and again we saw that in during the COVID period, that when you were starting to have that really nasty cough and it was basically a secondary infection that was affecting your lungs, sometimes antibiotics on a short period was helping you to fight that secondary infection. But it's only in very specific cases. If you have a book standard flu, you don't need antibiotics. So don't feel like if you're not given medicine, you're not being
The best
treated.
medicine for virus, for a cold, is to rest, eat a good food, walk, do all those things, rest, and that's it.
Yeah.
It will pass in 7 days, inshallah. Inshallah, if it's a normal cold.
Yes, exactly. So this is really things for you to think of. You might not be able to implement everything all in one go, or but look at different aspects of your life. There might be things you already do, and then great, add an extra thing. But add more vegetables. I think generally speaking, even myself, I have to confess, I have to really think consciously. Did I have my greens today? Did I have your greens in the morning for breakfast? So for instance, if you have an egg, scrambled egg, add a side of rocket, like dark green lettuce, like rocket, like spinach, like baby spinach and things like that. Chop them inside your omelette. This is the best way, is just to integrate it as part of the rest of your meal. Have a sandwich with a lot of salad inside, not just cucumber because it's mostly water, but add like dark green. Okay, guys, iceberg lettuce. It's very versatile, very useful, but it's just mostly water, not a lot of vitamins and nutrients. Go for the darker ones, the darker leaves. So again, I said, rocket, and so now we have these packets of lots of different.
That's the most annoying part of the grocery store in the UK. Everything in packets.
Missing the big fresh salads. Now some supermarkets offer 3 different types of little salad together with the soil attached to it. You can find them in some good supermarkets. So, and not the expensive one, actually the cheapest one.
You mean Lidl?
Yes, I don't want to mention it, but you can. Let's go for it.
Because I was gonna say that, which is a good supermarket in the UK, because they all package everything to the inch of their life in packaging. Yeah.
Because it's we live in an island. It's difficult to bring things over and keep them fresh, especially lettuce.
There's gotta be technology to do it. There's gotta be.
But we need to produce more on our little islands.
Yeah, there is ways to do it.
So basically, that's the kind of things you can do. Chop some red bell pepper chop some spring onions. Add your egg. Make yourself a little omelette.
How about a tin of sardines or tuna? Put it in a salad. Good for you. Lemon. Squeeze a lemon.
Yeah. A bit of olive oil or coconut oil on it.
Yep.
And you're done. Look at that. How easy.
Your cold fighting salad.
Yeah. So this is it for this show. We had a good roundup.
I hope it's useful to somebody, and make du'as for us.
Yeah, inshallah. We do pray that you all go through a healthy winter and stay away from nasty bugs. And inshallah, we shall be back next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.